I back. Trust me, I back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I had to take a little break, but you knew I had to come back for a Manel Kape fight and a Payton Talbott fight back to back. So today I just wanted to do a little recap and glaze Manel Kape and Payton Talbott for a little bit. I know this is like the worst time of the year to come back because there's no more UFC cards for the rest of the year, but I'm going to try my best to pump out as much content as I can now that I'm going to be a lot less busy. I already have a few videos in mind for the rest of the year, like tier list, top 10s, and a UFC end of the year award show. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down a video idea because it might get featured in the next video. So let's get right into it. We're glazing Manel Kape first. What a stellar performance. Nothing to fucking complain about. The leg kicks were beautiful. He was just staying out of range against a lengthy striker, and then he blitzed in one time and got the dub. That's my baby boy. That's my little chocolate midget right there. I mean, there's not much to say. The fight didn't last too long. It was just a beautiful performance by Kape. That's probably the best he's looked outside of that last fight that he had with Asu Alimabayev. That one was beautiful as well. Just a great performance. I did not think he was going to knock out Brandon Royval like that. I thought it was going to be more of a TKO, but he knocked him out. Like Brandon got up, but if you rewatch the fight, it looks like Manel Kape knocks him out and then wakes him back up with that last ground and pound shot. But that shit was crazy. We've never seen Brandon get beat like that. So for Manel to do that in the first round as well, if he's willing to do a short turnaround, I'm pretty sure they'd give him the Van fight. I think Tower deserves it a little bit more just because he's been on a better streak against better competition. But then again, Royval has beaten Tatsuro Taira. So really, you can make a good argument for both. I just feel like the competition Kape has gone against, except for Brandon Royval, hasn't been as good as Taira, especially since he lost to Muhammad Mokaev. But you already know who the fuck I'm picking for that title fight. I'd give it to Manel Kape. He's such an entertaining fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. So obviously I'm rooting for him to get that shot. And who the fuck doesn't want to see Manel Kape versus Joshua Van? That's a hell of a fight. If it lasts 5 rounds, you know they're just going to bang it out for 5 rounds. If it lasts 1 round, you know it's going to be a nice knockout. Like, I don't know who wouldn't want to see that fight. And especially because Joshua Van called him out too. So they could set that up pretty fucking early, like in one of the January or February cards. And for Brandon, if I'm him, I'm just resting a little bit, take a little break. He's never been knocked out like that. So I would just take a break, see what happens with the division, and then probably go up against whoever loses in the title fight. Or maybe if Pantoja needs like a warm-up fight before he gets back into the title picture, he could just go against Pantoja as well. The next fight I wanted to talk about was this Kevin Vallejo's knockout. This shit was fucking brutal. It wasn't even that, like, the knockout wasn't even that brutal. It's just the way Giga's arm just folded behind him like a fucking lawn chair. There's nothing Giga could have done, even if he was conscious. He couldn't have done shit to block those shots. He held one arm and then his other arm was behind him. And Kevin was just laying down fucking elbows. This little, he's built like a Lego brick. Like, I know I said that about Asu Alimabayev, but this dude is dead ass built like a Lego brick. He's like one of the weirdest but most functional builds I've ever seen. His defense looked great. Giga was landing a few good body shots. It really led up to nothing. Kevin didn't look phased. He was very calm, collected in the ring, and he just pushed forward and he just blitzed him and knocked him out. Kevin Vallejo's is definitely going to be a problem for a lot of people. I understand the Ilya comparisons, but not too much. I would say Kevin Vallejo's body-wise reminds me a little more of like a Yoel Romero type of build. Like, he's really stocky. Like, Ilya's stocky as well, but Ilya has more power than it looks like he would have. Kevin is dead-ass built like the Hulk. Like, you know, you look at him and you're like, yeah, this guy has knockout power. But beautiful performance from Kevin. Giga, I don't even know what to do with this guy at this point. I say just keep giving him fun fights. He's an entertaining fighter, but he's not really going to make it anywhere. He's just going to be one of those guys like a Donald Cerrone. Whoa, okay, not as good as Donald Cerrone, but, you know, one of those guys who you just throw in and you're like, okay, he'll have a fun fight. I guess a better comparison would be like a Drew Dober. But yeah, Kevin Vallejo is going to be a problem. I say match him up with at least somebody in the top 10 for sure. I'd say take it slow with this guy. He's only 24. There's no need to rush him. We've seen recently rushing fighters is not beneficial, so I'd say just take their time with him. I think a good next fight for him would be Josh Emmett. It'll just be a fun fight. 2 strikers, 2 super powerful dudes. And it's kind of like the passing of the torch of the 2 big brawling white dudes in the division. So it kind of works out for both guys. The next fight on the card I wanted to talk about was Costa versus Charrier. I thought this fight was honestly going to go to all 3 rounds and Costa was going to win the last 2. but he just throws up a head kick and knocks out Morgan. I watched the replay. It didn't even look like that much of his shin got too much contact, but it hit him right on the temple, and Morgan was just stiff on the floor. But he got up pretty quickly. It wasn't like the Bryce Mitchell one where he was flopping around like a fish and screaming and shit, but it still looked pretty bad. I don't agree that he's fighter of the year because he got the 4 wins. I would still give it to Merab just because the level of competition, and he did that as a champion too. Like, there's no need to do that, but he still did it. I'd still give it to him even though he lost against Yan. But still, Costa's a great fighter. I'm definitely looking forward to his next fight. I would say for his next matchup, they could probably match him up against David Onama or maybe like Dan Ige, somewhere in that bottom area of the top 15. But either way, even if they match him up against somebody lower, he's still pretty young. I think he's 27 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So he still has time to develop as well. The next fight I wanted to talk about was Bobby Green. I'm not calling him king. We're not doing that around here. Against Lance Gibson Jr. I like Bobby Green. I just wanted to talk about this fight because Unk still got it. Lance looked fucking terrible. Like, I don't know what the game plan was there. I don't know if he was trying to use telekinesis or he was like casting a spell on his head thinking that Bobby Green was just going to explode. But he just didn't do anything. He was just there, freezed up. He had like one good takedown in the fight, and that was about it. Dude is dead ass a balloon. He's just built like Chris Curtis and does nothing with it. He had no power on his shots. Didn't rock Bobby Green once. At least I didn't see Bobby Green get rocked during that fight. Bobby Green was just piecing him up, talking his shit the whole time. Lance started talking back like he wasn't getting his ass whooped. But yeah, it wasn't that entertaining of a fight. It was just entertaining because Bobby was talking the whole time and just backing him up. But yeah, Unk still got it. Then Ige, motherfucker. The last fight on this card I wanted to talk about was Steven Titties Asplin. What an entertaining fighter. One of the only fat fucks that I actually give a shit about. Yeah, I know a lot of the YouTubers make this joke where it's like the fat fucks just flap around. This dude was doing a little bit more than flapping. Like, he had so much skin, it looked like he might have flown away if he was bouncing a little too hard. But great fight. The other dude brought it too. The other dude was in the fight the whole time. Not winning, but he was there. He was alive, surviving. But Steven just put a fucking ass whooping on him. He went for that head kick at the end of round 1 and almost fell through the mat. But outside of that, great fight. He doesn't look that technical, but just with the amount of pressure that he pushes, I could definitely see him breaking a lot of heavyweights. It's just he really needs to make sure he can get out that first round, because at the end of the day, it's the heavyweight division. So these guys all have one punch power. So as long as he makes it out the first, I really don't see him losing until he gets closer to the top 15. But outside of that, I want to see in his next fight if he can get a quicker KO, because it did take him a minute to get a KO, and it really was a TKO instead of a KO. So we'll see if he does have that heavyweight power, or if maybe he can lose even more weight and go down to 205. Apparently he's 261. He doesn't look like that, but if he is, then yeah, no way he's going to light heavyweight. But he definitely needs to calm down on the output, or he needs to work on his defense a little more, because if somebody catches him, he's going to get flatlined. Lastly, I wanted to talk about UFC 323. You already know who the fuck I want to talk about. Princess Payton Talbott, my GOAT, my man, fuck Frank Ocean. What a performance. Took down Henry with his own trip, pieced him up the whole time. Henry had nothing for him except for those leg kicks. That's going to be a problem, and that's something people are definitely going to take advantage of. But I feel like not a lot of people are as defensively sound as Henry and kind of have that stocky build. Henry kind of has a similar build to Kevin Vallejo's, where they're so short and so like Lego brick built, it's kind of hard to hit their head. Even though they both have big ass heads, their bodies are just like so geometrical. You just kind of really can't get in there. But Payton was just landing at will. He looked very calm in the fight, looked like he was having fun. He emoted during the takedown. That was a pretty good moment in the fight. But he just looked in control the whole time. Henry looked like he had nothing for him, but Henry did still look good for his age. It really does suck that he retired when he did. It was so stupid. He did it to get more money, and now he's definitely not making anywhere near as much money as he used to. I wasn't ever the biggest fan of Henry, but I still think he's a legendary fighter and a really good fighter for this sport. The flyweight division probably wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for him. But yeah, all respect to Henry. I'm glad he got to go out on a fight like that. And Payton looked great in the fight. I still don't want them to fast-track Payton too much. I would say a good next fight for him would be either Amin Zahabi or Marlon Vera. I think the Marlon Vera fight is more approachable. Amin just doesn't really have any star power at all, so he's not going to gain much from it. and he kind of has a style that could cause a little bit of problems for Payton. But then again, he did get rocked by Jose Aldo in his last fight, so maybe Payton does just knock him out in the first. But I just think the Marlon fight is just going to be a more entertaining fight, seeing if Payton can knock out somebody with that good of a chin. Because we saw with Henry, he did knock him down, and Henry has one of the best chins I've ever seen in bantamweight and flyweight. So to see him go up against Marlon, a guy who's never been knocked out, that would be a really good fight. But now hopping off Payton's dick and onto Tatsuro Taira's, I did not expect this shit at all. I thought Brandon was going to be able to counter wrestle because of his scrambles with Davison Figueiredo. I thought Taira wasn't going to be able to put that pressure on him because Brandon was just going to be able to scramble out of everything and just be doing a little too much, just being a little cockroach and getting out of shit. Tatsuro Taira got him down one time, and that's all he needed to TKO Brandon. I do feel like it was a little bit of an early stoppage, but then again, Brandon was not going to get out that position. That was one of those positions where you either need to be like a super weirdly built guy to get out of it, or you need to be able to explode right off, right before they get to that position. Once you're locked in, belly down, and the dude's just raining down shots on you, there's not much you can really fucking do about it. So it's kind of a shitty way to go. It sucks to see Moreno lose like that, but it's great to see Tatsuro Taira have a really good performance, especially because they want to set up the Van fight. I'm fine with either fights, like I said, but I'd much rather see Kape because I'm a Kape glazer. But if he doesn't get the Joshua Van fight, then they could set him up with either Pantoja when he comes back, or they could do the Brandon Royval rematch. But once again, great performance by Taira. He looked really good in this fight, really strong, really big. It's basically a guarantee that this guy's going to be a champ at some point in the future. He's super young, and he's already made so much progress, so we'll see on his next fight what happens and who they match him up with. If he gets the title shot, I do think he deserves it. So we'll see what happens next for him. Next up, there's not much to say about this fight. I get the Joshua Van hate, and I don't at the same time. At the end of the day, he's celebrating because he just got double his pay, and he's the UFC champ. No matter what you guys say, he still has that belt wrapped around his waist. But then again, why are you celebrating that hard like you beat Alex? Like, you didn't beat him. You caught his leg and Alex broke his own fucking arm. Like, it's not really something to celebrate about. I like both fighters a lot. I do like Pantoja a little bit more, but Joshua is a young guy, so we obviously want to see him win because we get to see him for a lot longer of a time. Hopefully they can get this fight rebooked as soon as possible. Even if Joshua isn't the champ when Alex comes back, I would love to see this fight because it's just a really good. It's like a mini Max Holloway against a Marvin Vettori that actually uses his retardation for a purpose. You know, Pantoja just runs at you like a zombie and just starts fucking swinging. This is how Marvin Vettori should fight. But yeah, it sucks the way this fight ended. Hopefully Pantoja can recover pretty soon and we can run this back. And then last but not least, one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in my life. Petr Yan just looked beautiful in that cage. That high guard that he has, it just looks like nothing gets through there. He had no damage on his face compared to Merab looking fucked up. Merab had some excuses at the end of the fight. Not honorable, but I couldn't care less. Merab dominated basically everybody else. So say whatever you want to say. You're going to get the rematch anyways. Who cares? I'm super interested to see the rematch because these fights were literally polar opposites. In my opinion, I had the fight 50-45 to Petr Yan. So the fact that Merab just beat the hell out of Petr the first fight and Petr beat the hell out of Merab the second fight, it makes it very interesting for the third fight. If I'm Merab, I'm honestly just sitting around waiting for Petr to defend the belt once against Sean O'Malley or Song Yadong, whoever wins that fight, and then I'm coming back. He needs to take a break. He's been a little too active. Let the brain rest a little bit, and then we'll see how that fight goes again. But I feel like this performance did not get as much credit as it deserves. He took him down 5 times. Nobody has done that to Merab. And on the feet, it just felt like, yeah, okay, it looks like Merab landed more, but they were not doing anything. Petr was just moving perfectly with all the hits, timing all his shots perfectly. He was being super patient, just letting Merab move forward and just countering him at all the right times. He rocked Merab a few times. I feel like one of the biggest deficiency that Merab has is that when he gets rocked, he makes it the most obvious thing ever. It looks like he's trying to chew on a jawbreaker. And then when he got hit by Petr Yan's body shots, he reacted like a pregnant lady getting spinning back kicked by John Jones. Like, this guy makes it so obvious when he gets hurt, but his recovery is really good. We saw him get rocked, I think it was like 2 times, and then he got hurt to the body 2 times as well. But he recovers very fast. But I honestly feel like if Merab used more leg kicks and was more methodical with the shots that he took, like kind of how he was fighting against Corey Sandhagen, where the output wasn't as much, but he was hitting him with damaging shots, and also works on his tendency to make shots look very obvious when they hurt. he could win this fight. Like, it didn't look like he was ever completely out the fight. It just looked like Petr Yan was a god inside the ring. So it was a great fight. I was cheesing from the first minute to the last. I'm happy Peter has the belt back. And I really hope Sean wins the fight against Yadong so we get to see Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley in a 5-round fight. I think that is easily a contender for fight of the year. Maybe one of the best fights of all time. But you guys let me know which fight was your favorite out of both of these cards. Mine was obviously the Payton Talbott fight. But don't forget, if you guys enjoyed the video, to like and subscribe and comment down below any videos ideas. I'll see you guys in the next video.